Welcome in after the whistle on the SDH network from a almost empty Mercedes-Benz Stadium after Chelsea defeated Club América 3-0 this evening. I'm Jason Longshore, joined by Madison Crews. John Nelson is over to our left typing up the game story that you'll be able to read on soccerdownhere.net. Sophia Cupertino is over to my right. She took all the beautiful pictures that you will see on our social media and in our game story as well. So you might hear a couple extra voices, but I'm here with Madison Crews, and we're going to talk about the match and kind of our takeaways from it. It's an interesting one, Maddie, because Chelsea came in kind of off of a disappointing run in preseason so far with a draw and a loss. Club América has played 4 games in the Apertura in Mexico. They're in a little bit of a break before they jump into the Leagues Cup in the knockout stage. They'll go to Chicago and play Aston Villa on the weekend. So 2 teams in very different spots. Chelsea, obviously, the more dominant team in the evening, and that would be expected. But what'd you take away from the game as a whole?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. Coming into it, I kind of expected Club America to really be a lot more dominant than they were, just because of how much more time they've had in the season, as well as, that preparation for Leagues Cup 2. I thought they would come in a little bit more solid than they did, whereas Chelsea's still in preseason. They're still trying to get their footing underneath them, underneath their new head coach, trying to feel things out, trying a new system, but they looked really good tonight. They looked really dominant, and it was something that me and you even talked about during the game and how differently they play in that we saw Club America not really used to Chelsea coming up and pressing them. They looked really confused and disorganized, and that allowed for the PK, and then the next goal that Chelsea got a little bit more even in the second half. We saw Club America really try to break through a little bit, but then obviously Chelsea earned that third PK, earned their second PK, but third goal of the match, and they kept it going. But, it was very, very good performance for Chelsea, I think, moving forward in the rest of the preseason. And then for Club America, it's, they didn't get the result they wanted here tonight. They're still prepping, getting ready for Leagues Cup. They got Aston Villa again this weekend, and it's all about preparing to see what happens, especially heading into Leagues Cup.
Yeah, I'm a little more down on Chelsea than I think everybody else is. I think they were dominant in moments, and they made the most of those moments. You earned 2 penalties. I mean, a 3-0 game, 2 goals from penalties. I think it can be a little misleading. I think there was a clear difference in level. I think there was a clear difference in level of athleticism as well. I think when Chelsea looked their best, they were by far better than Club America. But I don't think they controlled the game well for the 90. You get a couple of goals early on, you don't have to. It's a different game. I think that's a big part of it. First 10 minutes, Chelsea was flying, and they looked great in transition, especially from wide positions. Enzo Maresca is still getting, I think, his ideas across of what he wants this Chelsea team to be. And I'm really fascinated after watching this to see how they do in the Premier League, because this is a team to me that I want to see if they can control games against upper echelon teams. I don't know if they can. I think this is a team that's brilliant in transition. I think the way that they pressed was really, really interesting. It almost looked like a pentagon in the press at times with 5, and how it would vary between 2 behind 3 or 3 behind 2, and the way the shape would go, and how wingers would drop into the back line on the backside of the play. I think they were susceptible to more big switches than Club America was really able to do. I think when they did it, they kind of unbalanced Chelsea. But I want to see how Chelsea can be with the ball in control of a match against top teams. And I'm not sure what it's going to look like. I think Raheem Sterling is going to be a perfect fit for this group. We talked about Shrewsbury Hall coming into it, and Maresca was asked about it. He comes from Leicester with Enzo Maresca, so he knows the system. He knows what the manager wants. He already is a step ahead of his teammates. So he has that feel of, I need to be here. Okay, I need the other guys to be here. And right now, they're not quite there. It's going to come, and I want to see how all of that comes together for this group. The scoreline, to me, doesn't reflect the level overall. I think Chelsea was the better team. I don't think they were 3 goals better on the night, or in general, than the scoreline showed. It's a hard one to quantify at times because of that. I don't think the scoreline indicates how good Club America was at times. I don't think the scoreline indicates how good Chelsea was. I don't think they were 3 goals better in general than their opponents. I think the 2 penalties skew it a little bit. And I think just the moments of sloppiness, and some of it is off the ball, and Maresca talked about it coming in. Some of it was on the ball, where I think they gave the ball away too cheaply at times, and Club America was not able to punish them for it. So I come out of it with maybe more questions with Chelsea than answers as of yet, and 3 games into preseason, that's probably normal.
And I mean, it's interesting because it is preseason, but with this FA series, they will get to go up against one of the top teams in the Premier League in Manchester City this Saturday. They go up against them, and it's going to be really interesting to see how they can use this new system that they're trying to implement against a team like that. It's their first time going to be able to try it, see what happens, because that's exactly the competition you're going to see in the Premier League, as we all know, and it's going to be one of your most difficult opponents, and getting the chance to see them in preseason, it's going to be an advantage for you. You get to kind of feel it out a little bit, see where their weak spots are, and then roll with that. I'm interested to see how that one turns out, and it's going to be a fun one to watch. I'm definitely going to have that one circled. Obviously we'll be doing a couple things on the SDH network, so I'll be focused. Don't worry. I'm gonna be a good be a good staff member and everything. But definitely gonna have my eyes on that one. But with Club America, I mean, it's interesting the position that they're in. They are obviously having these friendlies. They have the bye before they get to knockouts in League Cup, so they'll play against Aston Villa. But I'm really interested to see how it then turns around and they face off against MLS clubs in the Leagues Cup. It's going to be really interesting to see that transition and kind of using these matches against Chelsea and Aston Villa to kind of use that for going up against some really difficult MLS teams. Because, I mean, we look at last year, no Liga MX teams made it to the final. Yeah. It was MLS. The last 3 places were MLS teams. So, I mean, they got a point to prove. And it's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, they're going to have to find, I think, a better level on Saturday against Aston Villa, and then they're straight into a knockout game next Friday on the 9th of August. We'll see who they get. We'll see if Atlanta United could potentially be into that mix. We'll find out on Sunday after they play Santos Laguna. Now a draw would be enough to get to the knockout rounds for Atlanta in that. Chelsea and Manchester City, by the way, and I wonder how much both teams are going to give away in this. That's the Premier League opener for these two teams, and they play a preseason match this weekend. Knowing these two managers, I'm not expecting to see anything resembling deep tactics. Very base level stuff, and maybe even some subterfuge to show some things that you might not show in a few weeks when the Premier League opens. It's going to be interesting. So that's after the whistle from Mercedes-Benz Stadium, another international friendly, a great crowd here at the venue. For Madison Crews, for Sophia Cupertino, for John Nelson, I'm Jason Longshore. Hopefully you're enjoying all the content on the SDH network, and there's more to come. It's going to be a busy weekend for us. Make sure you're following us at Soccer Down Here, and adios, everybody.